Hello and welcome to another edition of the Stench of Truth. I wanted to outline a few things that people should be focused on as far as what is important coming down the pike. Of course, we have the sequestration, which is going to take effect if nothing is done to prevent it. However, I would imagine that there's going to be a lot of effort put into trying to roll back the cuts in military spending that would come as a result of the sequestration that was agreed to previously, because most of the far-right radical neo-Confederate jackasses in Congress seem to think that the imperial war machine is the most important fucking thing since sliced fucking bread. So therefore, they're going to keep producing the drones that murder and kill everybody, while they make a big show of trying to oppose various people for positions in the new cabinet. Most notably would be CIA Director Brennan, who refuses to rule out drone strikes for premeditated murder, assassination of fucking Americans on American soil. So I look for that to happen, but at the same time to see the continued grabbing and murder of the social safety net in this country, and the continued assault on Medicare and Social Security that Obama has clearly placed on the table for the Republicans to grab. And while there was talk for a time about how the Republican Party was on the ropes and Obama should go for the kill shot, well, of course, that's not going to happen because they both work for the same fucking masters. And that is, the masters of the fucking universe is finance capital. And let's boil that down a little bit further. Finance capital is capital that is used for fucking speculation and nothing more. And if you have noticed lately, gas prices have gone through the fucking roof, and that is largely because of fucking speculation in finance capital, where they take the money and they put it to absolutely no fucking use except in speculating the rise in commodities prices, including oil and gas, so that we all end up paying more and they can fritter away some more excess for themselves. And this is all in hedge funds and all these big fucking conglomerate Wall Street firms up there who have nothing better to do with their fucking money but to continue to speculate more and more to get more and more money for themselves while the rest of the country fucking burns to the fucking ground. And this is the very epitome of what is wrong with this society, and what we need to focus on is the idea of corporate oligarchy and the fact that it is completely ruled in and reigned over our entire country. And this can be exemplified by the fact that the Federal Reserve, a mechanism of providing credit for private sector, if it were so used, we could have a president who had some fucking balls who would go to the Federal Reserve and say, listen, you're going to fund infrastructure programs in this country by buying bonds from states, cities, counties, municipalities, and everything else at 0 fucking % interest, like you give 0 fucking % interest to fucking banks. There are trillions of dollars that have been given to banks at virtually 0 fucking % interest, and those banks get paid interest on the money they borrowed from the Federal Reserve by keeping that money at the Federal Reserve. So the Federal Reserve is paying money to the banks to take money from them. It's not even a fucking loan. They're making money off of the fact that the Fed is giving them money. That's how fucking bad it is. So we could fund the entire infrastructure program in this country by having the Fed, by forcing the fucking Fed to buy state, county, and municipal bonds to fund their entire infrastructure program, rebuild their school systems, their roads, their sewer systems, their water projects, interstate highways, their roads, their bridges, everything could be funded with absolutely no impact on the federal budget at all. There is absolutely nothing to oppose this except for political will. And of course, the political will serves the interests of the Wall Street bankers that are the ones that control the Federal Reserve. So you're never going to see that happen. Especially with a very weak president who is center-right, if not even a little bit more right than center-right, and is far from a leftist, socialist, Marxist, whatever the fuck anybody tries to paint him as. But, of course, that's the reality of the situation. So, what else do you have in this country? You have corporations who continue to pay less than half of their tax burden, which is supposedly 35%, but the average that is paid is around 14%, and they're going to lower the corporate tax rate to 28% so that their new rate will be less than half of that, probably around 10%. And of course, let's not forget that corporations also, there are many of them that pay absolutely nothing in taxes. And in effect, some of them actually get a credit for doing nothing. And of course, in this climate right now where there is massive joblessness, corporations continue to hoard vast amounts of money, hundreds of fucking billions of fucking dollars that they refuse to invest because they're scared of the market. While at the same time, the fucking stock market goes up through the fucking roof. And they're afraid to invest because they don't know what the future is going to hold. Well, I'll tell you what the future is going to hold. You're going to continue to hold on to your fucking money and everybody else is going to go down in fucking flames. So let's give more to the corporations, for by God, they need that kind of security to make them feel good about themselves. While at the same time you have programs like NASA being defunded when, you know, this is a chance for actual advancement, scientific improvement, looking at new technologies. All these kinds of things are put on the chopping block. For what? So the rich can get richer and hoard more wealth and not make any new jobs. Let's not forget that all the new jobs are all part-time, they're all low pay, and etc., etc., etc. And still we see the assaults happen every day. Every day it continues. Wisconsin is trying to go after private sector unions now that already exist there. There are other assaults being made against organized labor all over the country because this is one avenue where possible, you know, mobilization could take place. So there's an effort to deconstruct that because any avenues for actual political mobilization in this country are systematically being destroyed because they do not want the people to finally come together and realize that we're all being fucked and we need to come together to do something about it. Now, the latest thing seems to be because of some of the leaked information that's coming out about Adam Lanza and the Newtown shooting at Sandy Hook Elementary School, that supposedly he locked himself away in his little cubbyhole basement with thousands of dollars in violent video games, and that he was systematically trying to outdo Norway shooter Anders Breivik. And of course, I would be remiss if I did not point out that there were several other people arrested in various places in Europe who had tenuous connections to Anders Breivik, but I find it really hard to believe that this is the case. But of course now, because it seems like the gun issue, because it's nothing but a fucking distractionary fucking wedge issue anyway, and should go down the memory hole, because it does not address some of the vital issues regarding gun violence in this country. It seems now we're going to focus on violence in video games and violence in media. And of course, it's an important issue, just like all wedge issues are. They're important, they deserve their day, but it's not now. It's not now to look at violence in video games and say, this is the cause of everything in the entire fucking universe. Please stop everything you're fucking doing and think about the children for the violent video games and the violence on TV and the violence in movies and all this other fucking shit. They're all distractionary measures. And mark my words, I know I sound like a broken fucking record. Believe me, I know. I hate to say this over and over again. But the economic destruction that is going to be heaped upon you and me and every other working person in this country, every other homeless person, jobless, everybody who has already been raped by this country over the past how many years? Decades. And most egregiously since the financial crisis started in 2008, will have this economic calamity heaped upon our backs even more so by the continued actions of everybody that occupies positions of power in this country, because their only mission is to make sure that corporations continue to rape and pillage, open up new markets for them. You even heard Obama talk about the Trans-Pacific Partnership and saying how great it's going to be when all of our jobs go sweeping over into Southeast Asia and we're all left here holding the fucking bag for all of the things that we once thought were part of the American dream. That is, having a job that gives you a decent wage, or any wage at all, or any job at all, or being able to pay for your home, or even a fucking apartment, or even food for your fucking family, or prescription drugs that you might need for ailments that you have. You can't have any of those things, because we're all going to feudal serfdom. I mean, and that's just the way it is. There are answers that are available, but nobody wants to take them. Nobody even wants to talk about them. I don't hear anybody talking about it. Even Paul Krugman, who's a classic Keynesian, you know, he says we need a recovery program. We need to stimulate spending. We need public expenditure. I agree, but it doesn't have to be on budget. You go after the fucking Federal Reserve. Now, you see, there are some people in the alternative media that talk about the Federal Reserve. But the only thing they ever fucking say about the Federal Reserve is abolish the fucking Federal Reserve. Abolish, abolish, abolish. Well, that's great and fine. But what the fuck are you going to do in the meantime? What's your fucking alternative? And I don't say abolish the Federal Reserve. I say take the fucking thing over and use it. It's there. Use it. Use its credit creation ability. Take the fucking thing over, nationalize it, fund everything in this fucking country. You see, that is a viable fucking solution to the economic problems in this country. Okay? Now, when it comes to the imperialism and the fucking war, that requires actual direct action. You understand? The anti-war movement before Obama came into office was actually pretty robust. There were massive demonstrations. But because he comes in with left cover, because he comes in as a so-called liberal, when he's anything but, because he comes in under the left, he has disarmed the very people who were most vigorously opposed to the war. And all of these groups, because they think that Obama is secretly going to do something good for them, can't manage to wake the fuck up and realize that he's as much, if not way worse than fucking Bush was when it comes to war, murder, death, and fucking destruction. He's the commander of the drone regime, after all. And as I mentioned earlier, Brennan refuses to say, no, we're not going to have assassination of people in the United States who are American citizens with no fucking due process and no constitutional protections, with a missile fired from a drone flying over our skies, which are all going to be coming into place very soon. No, he won't rule it out because they want the ability to fucking murder anybody that they want. And remember, this is a policy that Obama is championing. Bush was the master of torture. Obama is the master of outright murder. So, if I had any message to give to the fucking holdout leftists out there, who are real leftists, who are real, you know, coming from the left side, is to wake the fuck up, get your motherfucking head out of your fucking ass, and start mobilizing your anti-war, your anti-murder, your anti-drone, all of these fucking campaigns over again, and quit thinking that Obama's going to suddenly do something that's right and good. Because he's not. He's a Wall Street fucking puppet. Simple as that. So please, any leftists out there who have laid down their signs and put aside their designs to try and oppose some of these policies, you need to wake the fuck up. There's nothing you can do about these idiot fucking lunatics on the right. And remember, I'm only using these terms as descriptions, not as there being any difference between them. As I said, they're all run by the corporations and the banks and the super elite, the money bags of the world. So there's no difference in their policies. They may have a little bit of difference about how they carry them out, and certainly they use the wedge issues in different ways to stir up their base. But in reality, they all serve the same masters. But if there are any true leftists out there, you need to finally say, fuck it, I'm done. I'm done. Obama has fucking betrayed me enough. When are you going to fucking be betrayed enough? How many times do you have to be stabbed in the back before you finally fucking realize it? And I'm tired of hearing, abolish the Fed, abolish the Fed, abolish the Fed. Well, you can get there at some point. But God damn it, you have something right now that you can use. So if there anybody that is sitting there spouting this stupid fucking garbage all the time about attacking the Fed, attack the Fed, well, yes, it's a source of major problems. And yes, we could get rid of it at some point. Yes, absolutely. But in the meantime, no, don't abolish the fucking Fed. Get somebody with some fucking balls and nationalize the motherfucking Fed and use it to fund everything that's needed in this fucking country. Put people to fucking work for once. Actually bail out homeowners by forcing banks to write down loans that are underwater. Instead of this fucking bullshit that they have with these consent decrees and these ludicrous fines that are imposed on banks for massive illegality, fraud, and fucking theft. And the best you can get is a piddling little fine. No prosecutions of anybody at all. It's totally absurd. And that's the absurdity of where we live. The absolute absurdity. Thank you. Good night.